Things are going to start happening to me now.
You've done all the reading. You're a scholar. You're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellectual heavy lifting.
More or less, eat shit and die.
You wouldn't know a fact if it begged you all night long.
Want to give the wrong impression because I am very high.
Ran up behind him with a hatchet. Smash, smash, smash.
Yeah. Care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. That was...
And welcome everybody to the Libertarian Podcast Review. As we always say, that is the right answer. It's always the right answer. Who? I am Tyler Yonke. This is episode 51. I hope you enjoyed the last one we did with Thaddeus Russell. I really enjoyed it. Thad, go ahead and tweet it out. Fine. I've sent you a link. Posted it out there. You liked one comment on there, which was from, I think, Top Lobster or someone else. I really enjoyed that. My wife enjoyed it and played the part about his the blowback portion that he talked about with World War II and the Holocaust and kind of all that to my kids. Because she thought it was something she had never heard and learned before, and me too. And then you got the questions of, is this guy legitimate? Is he saying the facts? I'm assuming so. I mean, you could double check what he said. I would encourage anybody to do it. I've got my new mic back, my new pod board. I have a Rodecaster Pro, and it had broken, so I sent it back to Rode. They just gave me a brand new one, not the Rodecaster Pro 2, just a brand new Rodecaster Pro. So that's cool. So I'm using it so I thought I'd do a podcast tonight. And I don't know if I'm going to have anybody live watching, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to do a little bit of a clip show. We're going to talk about some things here. My wife's with a friend at a casino, I think. I think she's like, how do these things survive with a bunch of old people? And I'm like, well, old people keep getting old. That's how they survive. What are we going to talk about? I was recently on Nap Time with Chris Kelly. He hasn't released that yet. I hope he does, because I really had a good time. Patrick Kelly's show, that was really fun. That was already out. He's got a bunch of good guests. Michael Heiss was after me. I think Jeremy Coughlin was before me. So, in good company there, at least. But I really had a good time. Some pushback on back and forth, and he made me think. So it was good stuff there. A few other mentions in the show, nothing to note here. I thought we'd start off. One of the guys I became acquainted with through the Tower Gang and through just group chats and stuff with this guy named Tyler Busch, and I just found out he passed away. So I thought I would just kind of share the screen here and his obituary, kind of read through it, and let's see if we can even find it. There we go. Tyler Busch. It's kind of sad. I mean, I just got some messages from him the other day. So 28, Corfu gained his wings and was called to heaven. 28 years old. Survived by his parents, Keith and Susan Busch, sister Tessa, Dustin Say, and brothers Nicholas Busch, Mario Greco, nephew Say, grandparents Donald and Susan Busch, fur friends Patches and Zoe, and an abundance of uncles, aunts, cousins, friends who loved him dearly. He was predeceased by grandparents Ed and Ruth Korzgak and Marilyn Busch. He worked at Oetker in Batavia, where he made many friends, loved to skateboard, play football, baseball, basketball, and he was a hardcore Bills fan. Yeah, he was. So I mean, that's really sad. It kind of hit me. When your friends or acquaintances pass on that you weren't. Kind of knew him. We had some interactions in the group chats, and he was always ripping on Toad. So that's something to say. And then he always ripped on me for riding bikes. But he did this tweet. I think I'll bring up one of the other guys in our group chat shared this with us, and I thought it was really. Let's see if we can find it. Is that going to be? This may get me in trouble, but here's what he had said. He wanted to say something nice about everybody. So, Garbage Main is a babe slayer and is the best dad I know. Nick Ashley slays it on the guitar. Tyler Yonke is a really good bike rider of bikes, the best rider of bikes I know. It's Positive Saturday. Tag someone and say something nice to them. Tired Gang Toad is actually good sports gambler, because those two would always got it. Ah, man. And my namesake, Tyler, God bless your family and everybody else. Keep you in your thoughts and prayers if that's what you do, which I do. So he will be missed. He was a guy that took me to task for bike riding all the time. And I enjoyed that. A lot of the thing we're going to talk about, Slurpgang RIP. I need to reach out to them and find out what happened. They're gone. Ace and Nick Ashley were fighting on the timeline. Ace kept calling Nick a coward, jumping in Jay, saying something about going through things on the timeline without talking to. I mean, I could talk about this because they're posting and tweeting at each other. So this is anything special. Curious what happened. I heard Not a Podcast Official actually mentioned them being gone too, and then someone was like, "Oh, Timeline Earth getting the bump," or someone is getting the bump. Once again, still my favorite intro of all these kind of like group podcasts. We have like a bunch of guys, because let's be honest, there is a Simpcast. It's girls. It's not quite the same thing. So a bunch of these ones, they have the best intro. Well, I must say Not a Podcast does really well now, where they take different clips and things. Yours truly has been featured a few times there. And then, they don't really, but it's once again, Slurpgang had the best open, hands down, bar none. Sorry to see them go, but I hadn't really been following them much. I don't know, just you can only follow so many podcasts, and then once again, half of them blocked me. I'm not blocked by Not a Podcast. They've welcomed me back into their Patreon. When you pay money, they let you in, and so we'll start there, because I enjoyed some of their. I've been catching up on their podcasts, and all of a sudden you hear them mention, and then they mentioned me. I've mentioned that before. There was something. Lee unblocked me. Actually, I take that back. Lee did not unblock me. Lee got axed and then got a new account. And when he came back with a new account, yours truly wasn't blocked. And so I followed him, and then they were recording as I followed him. And they're like, and Lee's like, "Hey, this jank guy just followed me. Should I block him?" And then they're like, Bert stood up to me. So thank you, big guy. But they did just mention me again on the show. Something's come about, and we'll play it. This is a risky move here. This is part of their Patreon show. Okay. But is it brave for me to do this? Is it unwise? I'm just going to play a little clip, but see, I'm going to help promote the Patreon, because they do Patreon shows. So if I throw a clip out there, may violate the terms of service and the agreement that we have, the social contract that we have with the Patreon. But what it does is, and maybe it encourages you to go and become a Patreon account. So they did 2 episodes as an example. They did like almost 2 hours of Black Mutualist, and they put the first half out on Patreon. Onto the live, and then the second half was Patreon only. So there you go. But this was the episode actually before it, and it's called Kids Pro-Choice. Their titles, maybe always the best. Kids Pro-Choice Award. But this is the Patreon one. I don't really want to show it where you can see it. So I'm just gonna, as I do it. So I'm just gonna play it here. 10 minutes in, they talk about bikes. Play it away, and I hope this comes through.
One stall today.
Dude, literally just go on Twitter right now and just look up Joe Biden bicycle.
I had to do some church.
It actually, I thought it was kind of endearing, because like how only like rich white people know how to ride a real like racing bike, and if like a normal person gets on one, it's like, what's up with these wacky pedals?
I'm shocked he got on a bike. Dude, what the fuck? That's awesome.
Dude, he got stuck in the racing bike pedals. It's so relatable.
I don't think that's
I like
real.
him more now. That's actually how he went over the thing, is have him do like Homer Simpson style gaffes. just like nailing his hand to a board and like shaking
Peter
it around.
Griffin slapstick.
Just like getting his head stuck in a bucket. Like.
His head stuck. It's like Kamala's dinner bucket.
It would be great if you just start.
like the Chinese and like diplomat comes into the fucking Oval Office and Biden's in the corner with a KFC like 12-piece bucket over his head.
No.
Yeah.
Doing the lampshade trick.
Come on.
I don't think that's real because
No, it's this is fucking hilarious. I watched it on loop. I'm still watching. I watched it so far. It's looped like 12 times.
I think it's like a Jinx video. It's fake because if he fell off, that means he's not let's going. My boy's always going.
Could you imagine how funny Trump would look on a bicycle? just riding a bicycle in a full suit, like a full 3-piece suit.
Dude, he would look like a circus bear.
They put him in a really tiny one.
That would be the fucking that would be the Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Like it's one of those Russian bears, if you know what I mean.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, the Biden video is crazy because like they cut it off. Every one that I've seen stops like right as soon as he like falls down. It doesn't.
All right, so that I don't get some sort of copyright thing here, I'm going to skip a bit and see if I get to some more.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Damn, that's fucking awesome. Hell yeah.
The Bikel 1, Biden 0.
Oh man, I'm such a fag, dude. I literally just looked at the trend. I haven't been on the internet. I looked at the trending, and the number 2 trending thing is just the words "Imagine Trump," and when you click on it, it's like "Imagine if it was Trump on a bike," and I'm like, God, I just said that. I'm so gay.
Yeah, but they're probably saying like
he couldn't have handled this.
Trump fell down on a bike, like
his life would have ended.
But you're saying the opposite. You're like Trump would never go on a bike.
Yeah. Yeah,
the Trump fella would have left a divot in the ground.
I feel like being on a bike is like as an adult is like an entirely undignified activity. No offense, Steppy.
Hell yeah.
I was about to say
this. I'm listening to it this morning. I'm like, oh, I'm somehow I'm gonna be torched here. And sorry, the long get up to where we're going, but they're
like, what person of bike is an electronic bike that doesn't go anywhere?
No, see the Peloton is like an exercise bike is different. Like I feel like because it's like purely for exercise, right? It's not really like recreational. I know that the Peloton is of course the best commercial synergy of recreation and exercise. But
yes, thank
like,
you.
Yeah. What the ad he's giving.
Are you reading that off of the box?
Right.
You've just got one sitting in the corner ready to be set up.
But like these, like you guys remember the picture of Barack Obama on the bike?
I'm going to
was
show
like
that
super
later.
gay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen someone on a bike that didn't look gay?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's no way. Like, once you're past the age of, I don't know, about 15, like really as soon as you're
50?
old enough for a learner's permit, if you're on like a proper bike,
a Cholo with like one of those bikes with the long handlebars, and it's like a lean back banana seat.
I've ridden those as an adult.
And you're kind of like slouched on it. That's cool. But these like forward mountain bike, like helmet on, like that's fucking.
Yeah.
You always look like a child. You look like a kid who's like.
The only way you can look cool on a bike is if you stole it.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that is true.
Ron Paul looks pretty cool. That picture of the bike. Also, that picture of Hancock 45 on the bike is really funny.
Okay, yeah, that one. It's good too.
Uzi.
Yeah, there's a lot of pictures of Ron Paul on a bike. There's a picture of him and Rand when he's like a baby, and Ron Paul's in like his full military uniform on a bike, and he's got Rand on the front, like holding the handlebars. It's pretty fucking tight.
Sir, yes, sir.
We have to go back, energy.
I got a bike.
Here's Gary Johnson on a bike without his shirt on.
Oh,
That's
shit.
one of the first things that comes up. You search Ron Paul bike.
I've seen Gary Johnson on a unicycle. Here come that Gary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that unicycle. Dude, you know who loves riding bicycles is the guy who reviews our podcast. And he's going to hear this. And I want him to know that riding a bike is really light.
Oh, Tyler Jenke.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, Gary Johnson.
I just thought that was funny. Totally true. I do ride bikes. By the way, I used to be a professional, so I might have some. And tomorrow, the Tour de France starts. This is all bikes related stuff here. So, not a podcast. You're correct. Now let's dip out of this, and I'm going to show you what they're talking about because I think this is actually very important. People say, "Hey, Tyler, how do you judge people?" And I say by how they look on a bike. This is this might be the worst picture. This homo over here, Obama, horrible looking on a bike. I mean, this is exactly what Bert and all them are talking about when they're talking about looking completely lame on a bike. Here you have it. This is the guy that probably couldn't beat me shooting left-handed in basketball. So there you go. Okay, one more clip here from Not a Podcast. This one, I just, and why? First of all, this one was released out there, so you can find this one on Spotify. And this clip I'm going to play here is specifically, oh, I can't do it that way. Okay, I'll bring it up on a different one. And the problem with this clip here, it's not a problem actually. It's the reason I'm playing this clip here is because it made me laugh pretty hard the first time I heard it, and it's a Lee joke, and it's really solidly done. So now since I can't really join this in with Spotify, it's going to take me just a tad bit of time here. This one is from the episode called Fit Check, right at 32 minutes, I think here. So let's share it. Once again, I'm not going to play it because it's on the Patreon page, and I don't want everyone to, I'm not going to have everyone actually read it. So it's just going to be me, but we'll play it in here. It's about 32 minutes in on the Not a Podcast, and they're talking about with Black Mutualists trying to recognize Jews, and he's like, with Jews or white people.
Like a party. Like...
Yeah, that dude doesn't have car insurance, and he complains about how much it costs.
Okay, I need to back up. I just blew the joke. Here we go.
It's truly a wild ride.
We have 0% white.
Okay, I'm really since I didn't have this on Spotify, we'll have to back up.
like Wiggers?
Yeah, a full blown Caucasian like Lee for sure.
Why does Lee? If Lee's a full blown Caucasian, why does he fuck with Wiggers?
Yeah, Lee. List your full.
List your resume, Lee.
I'm half white, half Hispanic. I'm not even white enough to get to be like a Wignat or anything.
Hell yeah. Well, that's like
that was my joke.
Yeah, if you pulled the Wignats though, that you would find out they're all like you though.
Yeah, I know.
At a minimum.
Yeah, I
or
remember.
If not more
literally, like when I met Pete. Like literally, Pete Quinones is like, "What are you?"
And what's funny is, what's Pete? I know what he is, but someone else say it out loud in case he's not like a snitch.
He's Mexican? Really?
He's half Puerto Rican. And what's his other half? I don't know if
Yeah. It's truly a wild ride.
We have 0% white.
You say he's Puerto Rican and what?
And Jewish.
And Jewish? That's
yes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. What a mix. Like his fucking genetics is having like a party. Like,
yeah, that dude doesn't have car insurance, and he complains about how much it costs.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. That's so fucking good. I was trying to think of one
that might be the best joke I've heard on that podcast. That's solid work there, Lee. Solid work. Okay, let's keep moving on. Like I said, it is Tour de France starting, so I just thought we would show you a little. There's this, maybe you've heard about this out in the news. Just a random thing here. I kind of know some of these people. The protagonist, this girl, her boyfriend's professional cyclist. He was dating her, and then he starts dating this younger girl, because this girl's like this, Caitlin Armstrong, sorry. She's like 36 or 34. Starts dating this 24-year-old, and they're broken up. Next thing you know, this girl here, she's good looking. She goes and she murders the other one, and then she takes off. This was on May 11 in Austin, Texas. She takes off. She's been all over the place. They thought she was in New York. Well, she was down in Costa Rica. They apprehended her in Costa Rica. She'd had plastic surgery. She'd been on the run for about a month and a half. Just thought I'd give you an update on the world of some news there. Okay, what do we have next? Next one, we're going to Drew Hancock. Drew Hancock, of all people, decides to do an interview show. Now, I remember when he was on our show, I think it was one of the Kill podcast one, he had said he might be doing this. So, yeah, he did. He had the one and only closed-eyed Reed there. So let's see what they have to say on his show. This segment is about the big news of the day and why make videos.
But yeah, it happened Friday. which I guess we should just talk about now. Of course, about Anglo-Libertarian saying he is not going to make videos anymore. Are you familiar with Anglo-Libertarian?
I'll say yes, so I don't offend anybody, but I'm not sure that I am, to be honest.
Yeah, so he's a British guy. He.
Oh yes, I think I know who this is. Is
Yeah.
he the guy who did the takedown of post-libertarians a few months back?
Yeah, he did. That was like a year ago. That's been a while ago. But yeah, he.
I know who he is then.
I know he's in with the Slurpgang guys, like he eats beans on toast and shit. But yeah, so he decided, hey, I'm not going to make videos anymore, and he's kind of taken breaks in the past and stuff like that. And his stuff was really good. He was a few thousand subscriber channel, did really good stuff. Took intermittent breaks. Marsupial Jackson, hello, I'm gay. I think I know who that is behind that username. And yes, a tragedy. So I wanted to ask you, Reed, just about yourself, because I was looking back through your old videos. What made you start to want to make videos? So for me, it was just because I'd been a libertarian for a long time, and I just had free time because of the COVID stuff. I was only working 2 or 3 days a week. And I was like, you know what? I got extra time to make videos. I'll just start doing it. What was it for you?
Similar, actually. I was in between jobs. I had left New Hampshire in the beginning of March in 2020, and I had a bunch of trucking jobs lined up in different Western states. And then I got out to Arizona. I think it was like March 20th or so, and everything fell through. All the job opportunities evaporated because I was going to be moving heavy equipment and it's kind of reliant on construction being productive, and COVID was just scaring the crap out of everybody. So
you said, I'm going to grift off of Liberty Twitter instead.
Exactly. Well, actually, first I went and I was helping my aunt and uncle build their house in the middle of the mountains in Colorado for like a month and a half. And after that amount of time went by, I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to start talking about some of this stuff. What originally triggered me into thinking I needed to get a larger platform was when I was in Arizona, just kind of hanging out, doing nothing. The CARES Act got pushed through Congress real quick, with no recorded vote or anything. That's when Thomas Massey tried to force a recorded vote, and Trump wanted to kick him out of the Republican Party. And then it just went straight through, and Trump signed it as quickly as he could. And I was just freaking out because I think that was a $2.7 trillion bill. And the largest spending bill in history. No one really knew what was in it, but the little information that we did have about what was in it was really bad. So I was trying to blast it out to all 120 of my Facebook friends, including my grandmother and my aunts and uncles and cousins, and no one cared, obviously. And so I thought, wow, I need to get a bigger platform. So I got on Twitter, and then I got up to like 3,000 followers pretty quickly. So then I decided, I guess I can start talking about some of this shit. So I had one of my friends come on the show a few different times, and we just talked about stuff. And
I was going to ask, is your first guest?
Okay, you watch that. It's pretty solid stuff. We're going to play another clip here, but I didn't. First of all, I got up to 3,000 pretty quick. I've been suffering along for years. I'm at 1,500, thinking I'm doing pretty damn good. Not at all. So it sounds like Reed got into it because of unemployment. That's what I took away from there. Okay, next one we are having. They are two guys. These two gentlemen still talking, but this time the question is killing babies, cool or bad juju? Let's see what they say.
I don't know if I would say that. I don't really know what to call myself, to be honest. So,
do you think abortion should be illegal in all circumstances?
No. So am I pro-choice? Is that how that works? Like,
so are you like first trimester only, or what? Or in the cases of rape and incest?
I think if you try regulating first trimester abortion.
I wonder if this is how Drew does first date. What are you, pro-choice, first trimester only? What's your position? What's your position in the bed? Missionary?
It gets pretty ridiculous. I mean, I'll put it this way: like, I am certainly personally pro-life, and I also think it's wrong for anyone to have an abortion unless it's some sort of circumstance where, you're going to die if you can't bring the pregnancy to term or whatever. But I do think like getting the government involved with early.
You can't have that standard, because how many times have you heard, stupid girls say, if I don't get this, I'm going to die. And, maybe that's be their excuse.
Stages really is not a good idea. And I don't really see how it would be effective either. I mean, when it gets to the point where it's partial birth abortion or like the Born Alive bill, or even just third trimester abortions in general, seems a lot easier to actually enforce. But yeah, early term abortions, not really in favor of trying to regulate.
Yeah.
So is that pro-choice? I don't know what you call that. Like,
I think
pro-choice well, I guess like if we look at it this way, when people say I'm pro-gun, but we say they're not pro-gun. So I guess I say I'm pro-choice.
I think the whole pro-choice, pro-life label is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, here's my thoughts on abortion. So second trimester, third trimester abortions, that is unequivocally murder. Like you are murdering a baby. And I don't think there's any question about that. These fucking crazy ass hoes, as they call them in the streets, they are celebrating like, yeah, until that baby comes out, I have the right to murder it. Blah, blah, blah. Well, they don't say murder because they say my body, my choice. But then it's like, okay, then you give birth at 7 months and it all of a sudden isn't your body, it's a viable baby. Then if you have a premature birth, those people are murderers. They're sick. I think the average person's view on abortion is pro-choice for the first trimester. But after that, I don't think most people support it. I think.
All right, you can check that out. And I do encourage you to do so. Okay, these next ones are a little bit of a tangent here. I saw this and I thought I'd just play these clips because I was very interested in this person's take. And it's Megyn Kelly, okay? Is she a libertarian? I don't know, but she's talking about some vital substance that we should be talking about, which is the January 6th hearings. I'm not really following along too much, but I'm following along close enough to know that there's some weird shenanigans taking place. And part of it is this new chick that just testified the other day, and people are like, oh, it's some bombshell stuff. So we'll play a few little things. Now, Megyn Kelly, smart news person, lawyer, or at least she went to law school. I don't know if she ever practiced law. Noticeably a critic of Donald Trump. Remember about the blood coming out of this and that. So there's obviously some problems there, but which gives her, to me, some little more credibility when she actually defends him for principled in legit reasons rather than just, she could be one of those people that just wants to trash him all the time. As an example, Saifedean, he wrote the Bitcoin Standard. He also made up some complete wacky lies to defend his carnivore diet. I think what he has to say is probably legit on the other stuff. I just think he's a kind of a piece of trash for the stupid stuff he said that I did a podcast about it. So you go check that out. Which is fine, but I'm not going to trash him on the other things because I think he's legit. Although it does make you wonder when someone outright lies about something, and then you're supposed to believe him about some other things. But either way, he's probably a pretty good economist. Okay, so let's play this. This is kind of the intro to this little clip segment here, and she kind of talks about the January 6th, and then we'll go into some of the other things. She's not bad.
The January 6th committee called its star witness yesterday in its case against Donald Trump. With all due respect to Ms. Hutchinson, I remain unmoved. I will start with this. As many of you may recall, I raised questions about Donald Trump's temperament to be president at a debate back in 2015. I think that was a fair issue then, and I think it was at the root of why he lost in 2020. I also think his temperament problems were evident in how he reacted to his 2020 loss, including before and on January 6th. He lost, he couldn't take it, and he embarrassed himself and the nation with his behavior. That's my take. But what's happening on Capitol Hill is a very long sleight of hand. This committee has one goal and only one goal: stop Donald Trump from running again in 2024. They're worried he could win. They absolutely loathe him, and they will do what it takes to stop his political resurrection. Just look at the makeup of the committee. No Trump defenders, not a single Trump ally, no objective trier of fact. We talked earlier this month about how they doctored the riot video and the Trump sound bites used at this hearing. And if this committee would just be honest about its mission, I might be more invested. I might be more interested. Instead, it cloaks itself in sanctimony, purporting to be a fair-minded, down-the-middle finder of fact, just looking to get to the truth of January 6th. It's a lie, and they prove every time they get together that it's a lie, which leads us to Cassidy Hutchinson.
Okay, we'll talk about her, but I just thought it would be important once to kind of give her overview. Now, look, did I expect anything? It's a different type of show trial if the Republicans put on a defense, and I don't know, I don't know that it would be beneficial either way, but it does seem to be a little more extreme that they are doing this. So that's just kind of the setup there. Now, this one is going to talk about qualifiers, and this is one of the statements parsing through one of the testimonies that this Chastity, is that her name? Chastity? Cassidy. Chastity. Cassidy Hutchinson. Take it away, Miss...
Megyn Kelly. You will hear that what she actually claims was she was in the vicinity, quoting, of, quote, a conversation where she, quote, overheard President Trump say something, quote, to the effect of, I don't care that they have weapons. A lot of qualifiers in there. She was near a conversation, not involving her, where she overheard something to the effect of. A first-year law student could have driven a truck through the holes in that testimonial. Unfortunately, none was present yesterday, never mind a full-fledged lawyer presenting Donald Trump's defense or even just pressing the witness on certain problems with her testimony. I'm not calling her a liar. I'm saying there were problems that any defense lawyer would have exploited. Indeed, Trump has had no defense at all at any one of these hearings or the depositions leading up to them. Okay, second.
Okay, so I'm going to skip the second one because I just want to go to the last one. And it's talking kind of, so this lady testified also about things that people had told her about what Trump did. Now, I just had a big trial this last week, and you're making, if you watch on TV, there's objections to all kinds of things, right? One of the big things you're always looking at is hearsay. Hearsay is, the definition is an out-of-court statement used for the truth of the matter asserted. So if you're actually trying to use it for the truth, then there's some exceptions to that. One of those is admission of a party opponent, as an example. So if she's in there talking about something Trump said that she overheard, she can talk about that. But anything else, even if it's her own comments out of court, because they're an out of court statement, you can't say what you said to someone unless it's to like emphasize your impressions at the time or such. Okay. So now you have this Cassidy going and talking about something that someone else said about Trump. So and then at some point it's what something else someone said about what someone else told them that someone else saw. That's like triple hearsay. These are all, you have to be able to, cross-examine a witness of what they've actually seen and heard and been there and done and experienced. So that's completely impossible. It's crazy that the Democrats would even put this person on, but here we are. And Megyn Kelly kind of breaks it down, but I just thought I'd give you an idea of kind of what the hearsay argument and conversation was. So here we go. Megyn Kelly.
Known as the Beast, demanded to go to the Capitol and had a physical altercation with his driver.
Okay, she's talking about the Cassidy testimony.
When the driver refused to take him.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing."
No, she's not there. This is just what one person told her that another person said that they experienced.
The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted the story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
Okay. Does anyone really believe that Trump reached for the wheel of the Beast and then tried to essentially strangle his security? I mean, please.
This sounds like one of his sex scandals, the wheel of the Beast.
Here again, Ms. Hutchinson was not a party to the actual exchange. A man named Tony Ornato got the story from Bobby Engel, head of Trump's security detail, who was in the car at the time. All right, so Engel was there, and he apparently told it to Ornato, who told it to Ms. Hutchinson.
All right, shit. That's triple hearsay. So I don't.
Known as the Beast.
That's full on triple hearsay. Okay, did I just screw this up by clicking the wrong button? Okay, we're gonna scoop ahead just a little bit right into here, and then here we go.
I mean, please. Here again, Ms. Hutchinson was not a party to the actual exchange. A man named Tony Ornato got the story from Bobby Engel, head of Trump's security detail, who was in the car at the time. All right, so Engel was there, and he apparently told it to Ornato, who told it to Ms. Hutchinson. Ornato, when he told Hutchinson, I will say this, that guy Bobby Engel was there, so that helps her testimonial. But here again, she paraphrases. If you listen to her full testimonial, she goes on and says, well, the president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol." Well, what does that mean? He said it or he didn't. What does that mean, something to the effect of? Which words are you unsure of? Effing? Take me to the Capitol? Why can't you remember, Ms. Hutchinson? Why do you keep saying "to the effect of" in recounting all of these conversations to this committee? Which, by the way, Ms. Hutchinson did throughout her 2-hour testimony yesterday. Her memory appeared to be rather shaky. Listen.
Well, first, before even talking about her memory, it's not her memory. It's the game of telephone. So she can't even recall because, your impressions, and by the way, witnesses even on site can be very unreliable. So these aren't her impressions. These are other people's impressions as they're conveying them to her. Even the emphasis about how someone could, sometimes you want to tell a story and you kind of maybe want to impress that person just a little bit. So you're just emphasizing there's something a little bit different here, and they take it and then they run with it in a different direction. So
and Tony had relayed to me something to the effect of, where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, Mr. Cipollone said something to the effect of, the president said something to the effect of, and he said something to the effect of, And I remember Pat saying to him something to the effect of, and Pat said something to the effect of, and very clearly had said this to Mark, something to the effect of, I remember Pat saying something to the effect of, and Mark had responded something to the effect of.
Something to the effect of, you remember it very clearly, then tell us what it.
Wow. Okay. That's a little bit harsh there, Megyn, because she wasn't there. So I don't necessarily fault this chick, as I'm saying, for this issue, partly because, well, one, I do in this way, because she should have just said, I'm not testifying. I wasn't there. You can't do it. But the Democrats putting this on. This is embarrassing. And for me, all that could have been true. So then you just go get the Secret Service guys. You bring them in. So there's just trying to let you in a little bit of a lawyer talk and what happens. I was going to play you a clip from Dave Smith's podcast he just put out today. And it is, if I go over here and I look at it, lies the media told me, video unavailable. So who has blocked it? Someone blocked it for copyright reasons because he was playing clips of these idiots, Wanda Sykes and some others in there. So maybe while we're here, we'll just see if I go over to Gas Digital and Skype, just steal it over from them. And okay, we're there. Show. We got dogs in the house. I love dogs. My daughter brought her dog home from school, but she shares it with her roommate, and the roommate just doesn't really want to take care of it. So it's somewhat problematic. So if you hear barking in the background, that's what it is. Okay, so let me take a look, see if I can get to the spot here where Wanda Sykes, they play a clip from her. They talk about abortion. Hillary Clinton, who's just hideous. She says some things about abortion completely wrong. Part of it's the legal ruling that they're trying to get at. Let's see if I can. Okay. I think this is the one I want to play. So let's get this one off of Gas Digital. And okay, Wanda Sykes on the Colbert Report.
I mean, it's just,
okay.
It's just a bunch of horse. It really is.
Yeah. She's funny.
Last stand.
Go ahead.
Wait, no, please, ma'am.
No, well, to me, it's like the problem is that middle stuff. It's those states in the middle, that red stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they get to tell us what to do when the majority of us live out, New York?
Can we pause again?
Hold on. So just pause it right there. Because this is beautiful. And I just in case you heard what she said at the end, she said, "What? So the problem is these middle states,
I just thought of something. Am I going to get nailed for copyright because they nailed her? CBS tried to do this to me once. Then she goes, so I'm going to stop playing it here. She goes on to say that, you shouldn't have to, if you're paying for everything, and I guess she means like California and New York are paying for everything, then the people in the middle shouldn't be able to dictate anything. But I was like, oh, you could use that for welfare, right? It's been the excuse long ago. If you're getting stuff for free, maybe we should be able to tell you how many kids you can and cannot have. Hey, Tyler, what's your take on the Supreme Court rulings? Well, I haven't read them all, but it is an interesting idea to think about, the Dobbs one. Dobbs was Planned Parenthood and some other organization kind of filing suit because there was a restriction of, I think it was 15-week restriction in the state, and they were trying to say that it was unconstitutional. So they were trying to get more. So interesting how they decided that they're so brazen in the sense of like, hey, we should be able to do this up till birth. Which you say, oh, really? Yeah, no, but remember Virginia, the governor was talking about that there, or maybe it was West Virginia, I'm not sure, but it was the guy that did blackface. But he was even saying after birth. But they push and push, and they're pretty bold about that to the point where they then are suing the state, and they think there's no repercussions. There's reciprocal. The courts usually have the ability. You don't just go in there and say you either win or lose. Sometimes they have on many issues. You go that, as an example, I do family law, so you go in there and you're like, I'm going to try to modify spousal support. Okay, husband used to make more than me. I'm making whatever, and I'm going to go and modify it. And sometimes the other parties, the incomes have changed, and it's reciprocal. The judgment that they could do. Basically, they turn around. It doesn't mean it's either what you want or nothing. It's what you want or whatever the court's going to deem. And sometimes it turns and it goes the other way. I just had this. They filed, and anyway, my client was getting spousal support. Now she's paying it. Okay, so on the same motion. So that's what can happen here. And so they bring in the Dobbs case, and they decided, pushed, by the way, from the Planned Parenthood, saying, hey, we should have more and more time. And then the Supreme Court's going, or none. So they did that. And so if you really want to blame someone, blame maybe the Planned Parenthood who kept pushing this issue. If they hadn't have done it, this wouldn't have come to court, and they wouldn't have had much at all. Now, as far as the actual rulings go, I'd like to read it because I know Damien Root Reason really went after the Ninth Amendment of the enumerated and enumerated rights. Is this one of them? And he's like, well, it's an unenumerated right, so it should be at least concluded in there. And he didn't like that. And he kept talking about Clarence Thomas and substance due process and difference between that and procedural, which Clarence Thomas isn't a big fan of substance due process, but Thomas's concurrence was an outlier. I mean, he did it himself, and I think everyone else, Alito or Roberts, wrote the main opinion on the other. So it doesn't really mean much other than he's evidently an angry black man, according to Hillary Clinton. She's a horrible person herself. Okay, I think we're just gonna be done with it from there. So I hope you enjoyed it. Go check out Not a Podcast. Go and join their Patreon. Who else do we have here? We have Megyn Kelly one. Check out her whole breakdown. I think it was fairly good, but maybe the clips I gave you. The Drew Hancock interview with Reed, that was solid. I didn't see it live, and I wish I would have, because I would have enjoyed that. Bmutualist was on Not a Podcast. Now, I saw him at Reno. Okay, my wife had made the comment of, hey, Tyler, I'll give you a BJ if you could find one black person here that's attending the Libertarian Convention. I'm like, there you go, Black Mutualist. It's even in his name. Looks at him, she's like, no, and he doesn't. Steve Urkel. He doesn't. This guy literally doesn't qualify. So I was out on that. Now you listen to the podcast and you're like, oh, this guy makes himself out to be like some sort of pussy slayer, but he's literally, he wears crystals on his head. He's not very impressive to look at, but I'll give him this funny podcast. So, whatever. Maybe Tyler, maybe you shouldn't be so brutal on these people. Maybe. Got a point. Anyway, everybody, episode 51, Libertarian Podcast Review. We're going to do Kill Tony coming up soon. So, Andy, let's get this thing together. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye, guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Chick-fil-A is completely overrated. It's not that good. I prefer Zaxby's. I prefer Popeyes.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Should I vote for Dick Cheney on the Libertarian Party? Do I have an obligation to vote for Dick Cheney?
I would say so.
Yes.
Did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
That one dude was like, not a podcast, I can't find it anywhere, and they don't have video.
Oh, yeah, Peter Janke, yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him.
I'll do it. If he unblocks me, I'll...
He'll buy your shirt if you unblock him, Bert.
He's a wigger.
Yeah, nothing cooler than a 49-year-old wigger.
Yeah,
I just started live streaming. Cut me some slack. I'm pretty high tech for a boomer. But anyways,
boomer.